Hello, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Lauren.
And this is I've Got Guts, a podcast about living and thriving with chronic illness. Let's be real, it is really hard.
But it doesn't have to be. You are not alone.
With this podcast, we want to create a community and a space to be able to talk about the tough stuff
And laugh along the way.
The idea for this podcast stemmed from us trying to find one for ourselves to listen to, but not being able to find anything that didn't make us more sad or frustrated.
Our goal is to talk about the hard stuff, but also talk about how to get through it, be positive, have a full and productive life, and of course, thrive.
But before we get started, just so we are clear, we are not medical professionals. We are just here sharing our personal experiences. Welcome back, everyone.
Hello, welcome back.
I don't want to rub it in anyone's face that we're teachers, but we're on the second to last week of school.
Yes, we are. Summer is so close, we can taste it.
We keep saying that to you guys. You're
I'm
not
sorry.
even going to recognize us when we record in the summer. We're going to be like the most zen, relaxed people.
Okay, well, that leads right into my thorn.
Okay.
I don't feel very zen-like right now.
No.
I feel like, what does my hair look like?
Crazy. I was going to say, you don't look very zen-like right now. So.
I'm wound real tight. My hair is wild. I literally, it's so funny today. After Connor and I went for a run together and then we jumped in the pool right after, he's like, Mom, what's going on with your hair and your eyes? You look crazy. I'm like, that's kind of how Mom feels right now.
That kid, he really calls you out on everything.
He calls me out on everything. But no, that really is my thorn this week. School is winding down and the meetings after school, because we're in a time where we're doing negotiations of our contract and just end of the year stuff, report cards, placement cards, just all of that. If you're a teacher, or even if you're not a teacher, even if you're a parent, you know how crazy this time of year is. And I just feel so busy that, are you ready for this?
Ready.
Yesterday, we went to Connor's baseball game and my parents weren't able to be there. So it was just Sean and I, and I'm sitting in the camp chair. I had a migraine, so I popped a Relpax and I'm like all cozy in the chair. I started to fall asleep. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm turning into my grandmother. I'm falling asleep at sporting events. It was like the first time I sat down and relaxed.
Well, yeah, of course you're going to fall asleep.
Shh, don't tell Connor I said that.
Someday he's going to listen to this and be like, Mom, I knew it.
Yeah,
but I remember that day.
I have a cozy camp chair where I can like scooch down and my head can like rest.
Oh,
so I wasn't doing the bobblehead or anything.
Forget it. If you were and Sean didn't take a picture of you and send it to all of us, I would be really mad at him.
You know what mostly the pictures on Sean's phone is? Pictures of me and making weird faces either when I'm awake or asleep. So,
well, I love that he's documenting it.
Capturing all the moments. So what was your thorn, Rome?
Okay, so my thorn is something I think it might be like the only thing you don't know about me. And actually, Anthony just learned this about me recently.
Okay.
I have a fear that I've never really told anyone because I'm embarrassed about it.
Okay.
I have a fear of driving into the car wash.
Rome. No.
Yes, because
the octopus?
It's like when you get up there and then they're like motioning you to align your tire and then you have to throw it into neutral and like, what if I mess up and slam or what if my tire doesn't line up the right way? Like, I've been living with this since I've been driving and I've never told anyone. So I avoid the car wash at all costs. And I got my new car and I really want to take care of it. So like a week into having it, I go into the car wash, right?
Oh, gosh.
I line the tires up. I get past that part. And then the guy's like waving his arms at me. And I'm like, what? He's like, your car. I'm like, what? He's like, press the P. I'm like, oh my God. So like I press the P. Turns out the parking brake on the new cars is just a button and it was on and I didn't know about it. So I haven't taken my car through the car wash since. So we're going out to take Rena for a shampoo the other night. And I'm like, Anthony, do you think maybe you could drive through the car wash and I could just like watch what you do to make sure my car doesn't do the thing again so that I have more confidence going through the car wash when I go by myself again? And he's like, are you serious? Yes. I was like, no, this really is a fear. But I'm working on getting over it.
No, I'm proud. You're going to breathe through this. You're going to come out end of the summer. You're going to be raving about the number of times you whip through that car wash.
He goes, why do we have to go to the car wash? I'm like, Because I might be seeing someone special this weekend who's never seen my car before, and
Wink,
I want it
wink.
to look snazzy.
There you go. Very valid reason. And I'm confident you're going to work through this
I'm going to work
fear
through
you
it.
have.
We could practice this summer. Maybe you guys could come with me and just cheer
There you
me
go.
on.
I'll cheer you on. Then I'll phase out. Then I'll follow you in my car.
Okay, I like
or maybe
that.
I'll lead the way and you can follow me.
I like that, actually. That would make me feel really comfortable.
Oh, that's too funny, Rome. That is too funny.
All right, roses?
Roses. So my rose is a successful 10th birthday weekend for Connor.
It was.
It was so fun. We had such a great weekend. The weather was perfection.
the only day. It was perfect.
Beautiful, warm, sunny. Connor got his pool party that he wanted. Everybody who could come came and had a blast. The food was great. It was a really, really good weekend.
I got to the party an hour and a half before it started, and he was already in the pool.
Literally, he's a fish. I'm not sure if he is going to ever come on land once school is out, but it ended up being, especially with the nasty weather we've been having. Sean and everybody was like, what if it's going to rain? What if it's going to rain? I'm like, guys, it's not going to rain. I'm manifesting all of the sunny vibes. And everybody was like, we can't believe it. I'm like,
it happened.
Hey, it happened.
You
It's
threw it
me.
out there. It happened. And you know what else happened? I ate a burger. Third burger in 7 years, guys.
There you go.
I think we might have documented it as well.
We did. So stay tuned for a picture of Room enjoying one of Chef Sean's juicy burgers. It's off at the Blackstone too. He has the Blackstone
You
Grill.
really can't go wrong there.
So good. And we did like a yummy burger bar with all the toppings.
That's genius.
Oh, it was so good. We kind of copied Red Robin. Red Robin, if you've ever done catering, I've done it before for parties where they give you all the sides and then they give you the burgers wrapped in tin foil. So then it's easy. But I said to Sean, I'm like, now that we have the Blackstone, the grill, the burgers come
Sean
out.
loves it. I saw him out there
Chef Sean.
clinging his thing to the metal and he just flipping things. He was loving life.
Yeah, it brings him joy.
It does.
It was a successful birthday weekend, burger bar situation.
It was.
What was your rose?
So last week I accepted tenure at my school.
Yay, Rome. Congrats.
Yeah. So I was previously tenured in my last district. So it's a little bit shorter of a time period to get tenured, but not by much. 3 years. So I've been in this district for 3 years and I will be officially, I accepted my tenure, but I'm not officially tenured until over the summer, my hire date or whatever. But it's a good feeling. Obviously I'm like secure in my job and everything, but having that like title on it is just such a comforting.
It is.
And it's like I worked for this.
Yes, and you earned it and you deserve it. And it's just the district's way of saying, we're happy you're here. You're doing a great job. Stick with us. And for those of you who are listening who are not in New York State, when you're a teacher, you get tenured, which kind of secures your job for you. Right. Which is amazing.
It's job protection. You have a union kind of to support you, and it's just a nice feeling.
It is. Well, congratulations.
Yeah,
congratulations.
As teachers, we don't get a ton of milestones, so I feel like this is a huge one for us.
It is, and very well deserved, Room. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
All right, well, let's get into our interview today. All right. So today we are excited to shine a spotlight on an incredible organization doing powerful work for the celiac and gluten-free community beyond celiac.
If you've ever wished for a world where people with celiac disease could live without fear of gluten exposure, where research is prioritized, and where we can finally talk openly about the struggles and stigma, Beyond Celiac is working to make that world a reality.
Beyond Celiac was founded in 2003 as the National Foundation for Celiac Awareness. Founder and President Alice Bast envisioned a world where people with celiac disease could be quickly diagnosed, eat safely, and live their lives to the fullest. Today, Alice leads Beyond Celiac in a direction no other patient advocacy group is heading, down a pathway to a cure.
And today, we're thrilled to welcome someone who's at the heart of that mission, Lauren Wallach. Did I say that right? Okay, good. The social media creator for Beyond Celiac. Lauren was diagnosed with celiac disease as a young kid, and she brings not only personal experience, but also a professional passion to the table. She recently graduated with a degree in psychology and is now using her marketing skills to help grow and engage Beyond Celiac's vibrant online community.
From breaking down research to busting myths and spreading awareness, Lauren is helping lead the charge toward a future beyond celiac, and we can't wait to hear her story today.
Let's give a warm welcome to Lauren.
Welcome, Lauren. Great name.
Thank you guys so much. Great name. I agree. It's a good one. Thank you so much. That was a great introduction. You guys really did your research. That's awesome.
Thank you. We try.
I'm impressed.
Yes. Well, we're so thrilled that you took the time out of your busy day to be here with us. So thank you.
Thank you.
Let's start with your personal journey and diagnosis. So take us back to when you were diagnosed, how old were you, and what was that experience like for you and your family?
Yeah, so I was diagnosed in 2007. I was 7 years old. I'm 24 now. And my family was living in Virginia at the time. And we were about to make a big move to the Netherlands. I was a pretty sick kid. Had a lot of GI issues, seemed like I wasn't really retaining nutrients. And my mom really was my champion and knew something was wrong. And she ended up seeing, there was a woman on Survivor who was getting stronger. You know who I'm talking about?
I know. Oh gosh, I'm blanking on her name.
I can't remember her name. I know.
Was it Dylan Dyer?
She was on the Today Show. On the Today Show. Yeah, she's awesome though.
Yeah, but I remember
her son. Yeah. But yes, this person on Survivor was getting stronger and stronger throughout the season, and my mom just always this woman ended up getting diagnosed with celiac after her season of Survivor, and my mom always is like, I just knew that there was something with that, and so she took she started doing research on it, and she took that to my pediatrician, and my pediatrician was like, honestly, you know more about this than I do at this point. Let's have her see a specialist. And so I was getting all of this blood work done, preparing for our move. And so they threw in the celiac blood panel at the time, came back positive. I got an endoscopy. Obviously, my intestine was, not doing so hot. But I feel very lucky to have been diagnosed so young because I really didn't have to do a lot of the adjusting. My mom was very concerned about this big move that she was going to have to, she did so much work really learning how to, read about gluten in Dutch when we were there. But celiac was discovered in the Netherlands. And so they are a lot further ahead than we are.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. During World War II, all these kids were, again, getting, these mysteriously sick kids were getting better during this time of rationing because they weren't eating wheat. And so then they started to pursue this research about it and figured it out. So that was kind of a ramble.
Interesting.
Okay, so as you're saying that, I remember I had the Celiac Bible, which was like a book back then, and I think I remember that story. I think it was in that that book. So
super interesting. Yeah.
So living with celiac from such a young age, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced growing up?
Something that I think about a lot now is the hypervigilance that is required when you have celiac. And I think that was perhaps necessarily drilled into me as a kid that you really have to watch out and ask a lot of questions and be sure that what you're eating is safe for you because you have to look out for yourself. Other people might not necessarily be looking out for you. And so I think that while that has certainly, prevented me from perhaps getting glutened in times that I may have otherwise been glutened. I think that it has contributed to some anxiety and that permeates in other parts of life for sure. And when you're always in this kind of state of fight or flight, wondering if you've been glutened, if, you're going to get glutened. I think that having that from a young age was definitely impactful for me.
So crazy because everyone we've interviewed about celiac, that's their answer.
Yes. Yeah. It is wild. And it's that, because I think too, kids have a lot of, fears and worries just in general, navigating childhood, right? And then add, the possible contamination. When you get sick, do you get the instant, in 2 hours?
When I was a kid, yes, it's changed now. It started to change when I was probably 20. It's a little bit less intense vomiting, whatever, that like whole reaction. It's a little more brain foggy now. But when I was a kid, it was like, oh my God, I was so sick, like immediately. Yeah. About 2 hours afterwards. Like,
I know. It's like,
what about when were you diagnosed? Yeah. What's your experience?
So I was diagnosed in college, which actually it was right around the 2006 time. So, but I was graduating college at the time and you were 7. So just a little bit older than you.
Just a little.
But yeah, I went my whole life from the time I was 5 until I was out of college, always sick, and they just never knew it was wrong. And I got the whole lactose intolerant. Oh, you're just nervous stomach or your anxiety or whatever, and so
turns out
it was really celiac. Like my uncle used to call me Mona because I was always moaning in pain. Yeah. So afterwards, I'm like, so how bad do you feel now? I was an undiagnosed celiac.
So there.
Yeah. Right. So
that's funny.
I do not have celiac disease. I have gastroparesis, whole nother beast. But I feel that.
No kidding.
I feel that fear-based like anxiety, like fight or flight. Like if I'm going to eat something, is it going to make me sick? I totally relate to that.
Yeah.
Totally. And when you start to feel sick, wondering what it's from, because certainly people get stomach issues all the time from anything else. It's like, sometimes it's hard to know. Is it, and it feels, even though I don't think there should be shame associated with getting gluten, it does feel personal. You're like, what did I do wrong? What didn't I check?
Right. Or what did I say yes to that I knew in my gut I shouldn't have, but I was trying to be polite. I was trying to be, the benefit of the doubt for the person who was cooking for me. Right. So
totally. Especially as women, I think we feel that pressure to be,
beat yourself up a little.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
So that kind of leads us into our next question. How has your relationship with food and social experiences evolved over the years living with celiac disease?
I feel like since I graduated college 2 or 3 years ago, so I'm like, still adjusting to being out of college, but I think I'm getting a handle on things.
It is a shock to the system. They don't warn you.
It totally is. Oh my gosh, that first year out of school, you're like, what is happening?
Oh yeah, I remember you were crying. I want to go back. Put me back. I should have failed that semester.
Again. Yeah, totally. I think that I experienced certainly some freedom there in, having like a real kitchen and a little bit more flexibility in my schedule and getting to be with people in other age groups. I think that I have found more of a love for cooking and food, but I think growing up, food was not really a fun thing for me. And going to get pizza with your friends after the football game or whatever was like that. It wasn't a food-centric experience for me. It had to be about the socialization. And so I feel like for me, only recently has food and socialization kind of began to intersect, as I feel like I've been able with, especially having this role at Beyond Celiac with my friends, been able to be like, hey, this is my experience with celiac disease, and people are starting to understand it more. So that has been really cool. It's kind of a pro con. It's taken a while, but now I feel like food is beginning to be fun for me, which is cool.
I love to hear that.
Yeah, I relate to that too. It took me a long time to get there, but I'm finally starting to get there. And it's like you forget. You're like, I forget how enjoyable this can actually be.
Yes, totally. Yeah. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be something that we can share in together. It's
Yeah. And now there's so many more options with,
that makes
free food and restaurants. So I think it's making it easier for the whole community.
Yes, totally. This new burger place just opened up by my house, and I walked over the other day to see if their fries were gluten-free, and the guy was so excited to tell me that they were because they only had gluten-free fries in their fryer. They didn't have any gluten containing. I was like, wow, you know your stuff. This is awesome. Can you believe it? That's crazy. I feel like normally I'd have to be like, so what happens is the gluten stuff goes into the fryer, but he knew. It was great.
That's the best
Things
feeling.
are changing.
They are.
Totally.
They really are.
Yeah.
So we want to talk a little bit about your work with Beyond Celiac. So what inspired you to get involved with Beyond Celiac after college, and how did your psychology and marketing background play a role in that decision?
That's such a good question. I was working as a barista kind of through and after college, and I was doing social media for the coffee shop. And I was also doing social media for the counseling center on campus that, was kind of with the psychology department. It was all connected. And yeah, and I've been on social media basically my whole like cognizant life, for better or worse, which is kind of crazy. And I think that there is a lot of certainly harm on social media, but I also think that there's a lot of good that can be done. And I felt like I got to see that kind of intersect with this coffee shop, trying to get people to come and buy this coffee I really believed in. It was, my friends owned the coffee shop. It was really dear to my heart. And this counseling center side of providing resources for people to engage with and hopefully benefit them and get them to come to programming and things. And so when I saw that Beyond Celiac was hiring, I was really delighted to be even interviewing with this organization that like every time I Google something gluten-free, it's Beyond Celiac that comes up. So
yes, always. They are like on the cutting edge of it all, and they always have been.
Yes, totally. Yeah. And it's like really is the organization pushing for treatments and a cure for celiac disease. And like that is obviously something very close to my heart as well. And so it's the stars have aligned. I feel very lucky to be working here.
Yeah, it's so awesome.
Yeah.
So describe for us, what does a typical day look like as a social media creator for Beyond Celiac?
Yeah, I work remote, which is amazing. And so part of my day is spent in meetings. We have a pretty small communications team, small but mighty. We're very close. And so we interact a lot in like future planning projects and things like that. And our staff is pretty small too. And so it's exciting to get to interact with all of these different members of our team to kind of brainstorm and plan all these cool things we get to do. We all work very closely together. And then the other part of my day is creating the content. And so that's, certainly brainstorming video ideas, scripting things out, editing our podcast, our videos, our graphic design elements. It's kind of all the social media stuff lives under my umbrella. So I get to do a lot of different things and talk to a lot of different people, which is
that's really cool. You wear a lot of hats.
Yes.
Wear a lot of hats. Nonprofit lifestyle for sure there. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So Beyond Celiac's mission includes driving diagnosis. From your perspective, what barriers still exist when it comes to people getting properly diagnosed?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. This is certainly something that Beyond Celiac is really striving to screening is something that we are striving to make more accessible for people. I think that unfortunately, a lot of primary care physicians don't really have celiac on their radar or an understanding that it can look different. Down to people of color, particularly Black women, are underdiagnosed by astonishing rates because I think often doctors don't realize that we think of celiac disease as this like quote unquote white women's disease. And that's not true. Celiac can affect anybody of any age or race or any demographic, gender. And so I think that, this barrier of understanding that celiac can look many different ways is a big one. But I think we're doing a lot of work around even educating people about different symptoms of celiac, that it's not all GI related. There's skin conditions, there's anemia, there's brain fog, there's all these other, unfortunately, all these other symptoms of celiac. I think that is a barrier that comes to mind for me, for sure. I'm curious. Yeah. What do you guys think? I'm like, can I throw the question back to you?
I totally agree with you. I think that everybody thinks it's all GI related, and it's really not always GI related.
Yeah. And I think back to when I was a kid, I would eat gluten. And sometimes it was just so raging in my system. And, my small intestines were probably so destroyed then. So sometimes I would eat bread and feel fine and not feel sick until days later. I would go weeks with feeling okay. And then I would so it was just, that's why I think too, and this was back in the 90s, that it was so tricky for them to diagnose me. There was never, I would keep a food diary, right? Of like, I ate bread this day, it didn't make me sick, but then I ate it 4 days in a row and I was sick every day. It was just so frustrating. But the symptoms can be so unique and different depending on who you are, your body, right? And how your body reacts.
Yes.
There are some people out there who have no symptoms.
Yeah. Totally. No external symptoms.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's kind of scary because it's like, oh, then what's the consequence if you're eating it? You're destroying yourself internally, but
long-term consequences.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I totally agree. It's something to think about. I had a thought and it went away. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
Oh shoot. No, I'm sorry.
It's
okay.
It's going to hit you when it comes to you.
It's going to hit me.
I feel better about my life because sometimes I'm like, I hit 40 and I feel like I can't remember anything.
It's the brain fog though. This is totally it. I feel like stuff like this happens and I'm like, dang, like, is that, I've had gluten in my life past my celiac diagnosis. I have not I have not consumed gluten on purpose since my diagnosis, but I know that people often do. And like, it's something that we are facing is this, like, how do you take care of yourself and also not live in a bubble? Like I've eaten gluten on accident many, many times. And that certainly is affecting my brain fog,
it's like the lingering effects, even once you are gluten-free, that just kind of haunt you. Do you have any other autoimmune diseases?
I do. I have Hashimoto's and I was diagnosed with that when I was 16. Is that you as well?
I literally got diagnosed with it in 2006 and I went on meds and it kind of went quiet. And just in January, symptoms started to flare again for me. And I'm back on the meds where I have to take daily. And I feel so much better now. I'm like, I feel amazing again. I was like so tired. That's
the thing for me too. It's like totally, knocks me out.
Yes, it's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people who have celiac end up with Hashimoto's or rheumatoid arthritis or something like that. So,
yeah, I joke that it's a collect them all situation, which is dark.
You should get like a sticker book. How many?
Some bumper stickers at our car.
That's awesome. You get free gluten-free food when you hit the number.
Yeah. Well, I feel like what we're talking about kind of leads into this next question we had for you. So there is still a lot of misunderstanding around celiac disease and gluten-free diets. What are some myths you find yourself constantly needing to bust online when you're doing your work that come up?
Something that has been coming up a lot recently has been this myth that heat can kill gluten, which is so funny to me because I know, isn't that funny?
Let's set it on fire, it'll go away.
Yeah, right. It's like grilling season is like a big time that this comes back around. But if you burn gluten, it's just burned gluten. It's not like a germ, And so I think that, that sort of like those cross contact, like what is cross contact? How do you prevent cross contact? Those are certainly things that we come across often. Let me think about some myths.
Like, so someone thinks like you could grill a hot dog bun and then take it off and then put a hot dog on. But that hot dog is fine because the fire burned away because it was so hot from the bun.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Or like into a pizza oven. That's when I hear a lot that like it's so hot in the pizza oven that you don't.
Pretty hot there, but gluten can survive.
Gluten is flying in there.
Funny.
Oh my gosh.
Literally, yeah. I saw her name is Gabby on Instagram. I can totally find her handle and send it to you guys so we can give her credit. But she posted a video about this idea that for people with celiac, gluten is like raw chicken. And that is the way that she thinks about preventing cross contact. And so like in the sense that like when you chop something on raw chicken, there's a heat component there. But when you chop something on a cutting board, you're not just going to chop a vegetable on top of the raw cutting or the cutting board you just chopped the raw chicken on. And same with washing your hands in between. That's the kind of care that needs to be taken for people with celiac with gluten. I really liked that.
Perfect analogy.
That really is. Yeah. That really, really is. When everyone started using like natural like cleaning agents or I went to a party where they're like, we could just clean and disinfect with this one rag. I'm like, that rag is not going to kill the gluten.
Also, ew. I feel like it points out a lot of you're like, dude, that's gross. What the heck?
Get some soap on that.
Yeah, totally. Come on. Yeah. Do you guys run into gluten-free or celiac related myths ever that are frustrating?
I think it's the cross-contamination. People think, that that's not really a thing, and it is, and I think sometimes boiling water and pasta, like, oh, you can use that water. You don't see it in there, but it's right. Oh, if the gluten pasta was in there first. Oh, it is. That water is so contaminated.
Yes.
I will be vomiting for days.
Yes, totally. Yeah.
So I think it's
that is true.
You can't see it with the naked eye, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it must not be there.
Yes. Out of sight, out of mind. People forget.
Yeah.
Totally.
Well, let's talk a little bit about research, and the future of treatment, which is so wild to me.
Yes. So Beyond Celiac is also a major force in funding research. Are there any recent research developments or studies that you're especially excited about right now?
There are. I have two that I want to tell you both about today. So one is this person, Dr. Jason Tai Din, and he's out of Australia, which is cool also to me personally. I think that's awesome. And he is working on a test to diagnose celiac or to screen for celiac that doesn't require gluten exposure. So you probably know right now, to be diagnosed with celiac disease, you have to be eating gluten because it requires that there's damage shown to have a celiac diagnosis. And that is obviously frustrating, especially for people who maybe suspected that they had celiac, went gluten-free, and then later are trying to pursue a diagnosis. That sucks. Yeah. So he's working on a urine test where it would show up in urine. And we have some webinars with him if anybody's curious that are on our YouTube channel to learn more about his work. It's really fascinating.
That's
and
wild.
Much more high level than I can understand, certainly.
Yeah, crazy you say that. We actually just had on a guest last month, and she's at Gluten-Free Galley on Instagram. She does recipes and everything, and she's in that situation where she's been gluten-free for so long that she knows she has celiac, but she can't test for it because she's not willing to gluten herself.
Yep. My mom is in that situation. My mom went gluten-free when I did and felt, all of these symptoms she'd had for a very long time have, since they're much better now, but she doesn't want to go back on gluten. But I obviously got it from somewhere. So to her, she's like, well, of course I have celiac. But yeah, it's such an interesting, I think long-term pursuing a celiac diagnosis will be beneficial for people once we do, we can get into these like treatments and cures. But yeah, right now it's like, well, for some people, what's the need? So super excited about that research coming out of Australia.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then the other one that I'm excited about is Dr. Ian Kroll out of Sheffield in the UK is funded by one of our grants, research about the brain and gluten. And we have also done a lot of work with him that you can find on our YouTube if you're interested in learning more specifics. But he studies gluten ataxia, which is when the matter in the brain starts to go away because of gluten exposure. And he has found that this happens certainly in some people with celiac and people with things like non-celiac gluten sensitivity, so other gluten-related disorders.
That is fascinating to me. Is this why my brain doesn't work properly sometimes?
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, oh, it's the gluten. Okay,
let's blame the gluten.
Yeah. But it really is. It's he's done a lot of research on like clumsiness and balance issues and coordination, as well as difficulty remembering things and like sort of filing information. It's fascinating. I'm excited for his research to continue for sure.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting.
Okay, totally checking out the YouTube channel and seeing some of that. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I know some of our listeners will love that.
Yes, definitely.
So, thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, you can find him in podcast form too, if that's your preferred method of listening.
Awesome. Awesome. And, I think many people don't realize that a gluten-free diet isn't a cure, right? I don't know if you ever get that. They're like, oh, you're cured. I'm like, well, it's not really a cure.
It's management at best.
Right, exactly. So can you explain the importance of advancing new treatments and possibly a cure beyond just the dietary changes?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think what we're anticipating is that the first treatments that we will see for celiac disease will likely be something kind of like a lactate, where you would be able to take it to prevent such a severe reaction in case of exposure. And so for many people with celiac disease, that would still include a predominantly gluten-free diet until some of these treatments start to advance a little bit further. There's also, a lot of this is out of my zone of understanding, but ways that they're figuring out how to build some of the like proteins that you need to digest gluten in people's bodies. And a lot of that stuff is a little bit further out. There's so many like phases of research trials that these things have to go through. But I think that having that knowledge about the first iteration of things likely being more preventative gives us some there's going to be a slower transition out of it. And I think that I run into a lot of people who are like, I'm not going to stop eating gluten-free. Like, I don't trust that. I feel better now. Like, I don't want to just eat a croissant and like, honestly, that's understandable. I totally get it. I think there's some people who are like, would run to the nearest Pizza Hut if they could, for sure. But I think that as the field continues to advance, it's going to be good to have different kinds of treatments for different people who are in different situations. So that's important to us as well, funding different kinds of research.
I think it's awesome that you guys are doing all of this.
I know. I cannot wait to see where things are, 20 years from now. If you would have told me back in 2006 when I was in a food depression trying to find gluten-free that I'd be literally thriving and going to restaurants and ordering and gluten-free fryers are out there, I would have never believed it. It was such a dark time back then.
Yeah, totally. I know. I mean, there was like really nothing. It was it was really different. It's definitely different now. And I think for the better.
Yeah, that's
I agree. So what has surprised you the most in stepping into this role, either from the community or from what goes on behind the scenes?
I think that this is the first time in my life that I have known a lot of people, or really anybody around me, with celiac disease. And now, obviously, I know so many people with celiac disease. My whole world feels like it's celiac disease, certainly for the better. But I think that when I started, I didn't have to explain that for the first time. People just already understood. And I think that the thing that surprised me about that is you can live with something for me, basically my whole life and still find such importance in the community aspect of it. I think like I just felt like I had gotten used to it. And this was just like part of my life, and it's just being gluten-free and whatever. But it's really something that impacts every part of my life. I think about it all the time, and you can't really talk to people who don't, experience the same thing you do about that all the time. But with my coworkers, with our community now, I'm like, I can be like, oh my gosh, can you guys believe what happened? Yeah, people understand.
It's that connection. I know anytime, because I teach third grade, anytime I have like a student, I'm like, I'll take the celiacs if there's a celiac in this grade.
Yes. Oh my gosh. When we moved abroad, my teacher had celiac disease, and it was in the middle of the year. He was like, I want her. Like, she just got diagnosed. I can help. And he did. It was huge. Oh my gosh. It makes such a difference. That's so cool. I love to hear that. Wow.
That's amazing. It is. I wrote a picture book years ago called Celia the Celiac, and all about, because I'm with children and I've watched them, and I know myself suffering as a child, and then watching them kind of navigating it. I mean, it's still yet to be published. It's been a work in progress for many years, but it's the whole idea of, it's as adults, it's challenging, but to watch kiddos go through it, and I mean, that was you were 7, you said, right? Yeah.
I was 7. I would have loved something like that. I had one children's book that was like, it was the Gluten-Free Gal, I think. And it was like this girl that like, she looked like me that had celiac. I would have I hope that gets published, because that would have been.
It will.
Oh, good. Yeah.
It's all in the works.
Although you should hear her son. He has celiac disease as well. And we interviewed him. And I was like, is it hard to be a celiac? And he's like, no, it's actually pretty easy. The pizza's good.
I think when
the bread's good. I like it.
That's amazing. When you're a kid, you're so resilient. You're like, whatever, like this is just what it is. That's cool. And I think that also speaks to you too. Like that's you giving him the ability to feel like he can eat without fear. That's our whole mission. For him, it's like, whatever. And like, that's good parenting move there.
Well,
for
thank
sure.
Thank you. And I do have to say, it's all he knows. So I had, when he was 6 months old, I did genetic testing on him. He has the celiac gene and the markers. He had the most severe case or whatever they called it. And my pediatrician was wonderful. And we worked together. And she said, normally they don't do that, but because I was so sick my whole life. And now I have all these other illnesses. Obviously, look at us on this podcast right now talking about them, right?
Yeah.
That she was wonderful and allowed me to get that done. And all he's ever known is gluten-free. He's never had gluten. He's been poisoned 4 times, but that was it. And he just turned 10 last week. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. And like, that is like what a world we live in,
right?
That's,
I know.
that's pretty cool. Yeah. That's amazing.
So,
that's special.
So back to the Beyond Celiac, if people who are listening, what are some ways they can get involved, whether they're newly diagnosed or longtime advocates, what are ways people can get involved with the good work you're doing?
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I've got a couple that come to mind. We have a campaign that you can find on our website called Voices of Celiac. If you're interested in sharing your celiac or non-celiac gluten sensitivity story, it's a great place. We have some like guided questions, so it's a great place to tell us about your journey with celiac disease. And then we share those stories with our audience. You can have it be anonymous if you want. You can include a picture if you want. We'll share it on our social media. And it's cool to go through those. And there's so many different ways that people have come to their celiac diagnosis or their gluten-free diet. And I find a lot of community in reading those stories as well.
Okay, I'm totally having my son and I do that. We're going to do it together.
Please. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. Yes, I will totally publish that one. That's awesome. I would love that. That's amazing. We also have a program called Reach Beyond Celiac, and that's our celiac ambassadors. And they do all sorts of work. They host events in their communities. They're kind of our boots on the ground, Beyond Celiac, the face of our organization for the community. And they are just so cool. And they meet up with each other as well and host events. So if you're feeling really passionate, that's a great way to get involved with us. And then the last one I'll say is our Step Beyond Celiac 5Ks. And we're about to launch our dates for our fall in-person 5Ks. And we also run a virtual 5K as well. And so the money for registration goes directly to our organization to support research. And you get a cool t-shirt that I made.
Ooh, I love
meet a lot of people that have
right
celiac.
up your alley. Yes, I'm a runner. Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
Yes. In our area, because we're in Rochester, New York, they used to do a walk or a 5K. It was making treks for celiac. So I don't know if that was connected with you guys. I'm not sure.
I don't know
how that was
before
connected.
my time at the organization. But
this was probably, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago.
Yeah.
15 years ago.
Yeah. I don't know. That's interesting. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, this can be maybe, I don't know when this is going to come out, but there's going to be a Philly one, and then outside of Boston will be the 2 in-person ones in the fall. So,
nice. We have to make a little trip.
Yeah, they're so Philly. Fun. They're really, they're really a good time.
I love it. I love it. Awesome.
So we want to end the interview with like a fun question. So what's your go-to gluten-free meal or snack that you can't live without?
Have you guys had Brazzi Bites? Do you know that brand?
No. Okay. I love when I learn something new, especially when it has to do with snacks.
Do you have a Costco near you?
Yes.
Okay. I think that they're at Costco like around the US. But it's this brand, and they do tapioca starch, and they're these like Brazilian cheese ball snacks that they're frozen. You put them in the oven, and they're just like bread and cheese, and they're so good. But recently they started making waffles, and they have frozen home style waffles and blueberry and cheesy waffles, and they are so good. Like any time of day, breakfast, lunch, dinner. Oh my God. They're amazing.
You had me at cheesy waffle.
My mouth is watering.
And they're good. They're not, I feel like sometimes gluten-free toaster waffles are like,
wah, like dry.
Yeah.
That's actually the story I tell everyone. That was the first gluten-free thing she got. Where we were in college, it was a small town. She had to drive like an hour and a half to go to a Wegmans, which is the major grocery store. And she comes back and she's like, they had gluten-free waffles. She makes it. She takes this big bite, and I have never seen her. She angrily threw the plate. She was like, this is disgusting. And then she went and did a beer pong tournament and drank a bunch of Bud Light because of the bad waffle.
Yeah, I was like, I remember being like, this can't be a real thing. Celiac disease can't be real. So I actually went against, I was still in college at the time.
That's awesome. That's so
and
funny.
I was like, nope, not doing it. And then after college, my doctors were like, no, really, this is a thing. You are a celiac, you know, but it was hard.
Because it's like, it's so intimidating. I think for so long, you're like, what am I supposed to eat? What am I supposed to do? But there really are good brands that make good frozen waffles. I swear.
We got to go to Costco.
All right, we're going to Costco.
Costco trip.
Yay. That's awesome. I got to go to
yummy.
Costco too. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's my rec.
My mouth is now watering. That was a perfect way to end our interview today on a yummy gluten-free treat.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you both so much. This has been so fun.
Yes,
really nice
we
to
love having you. You are wonderful, so easy to chat with. And thank you for all the work that you guys do. It means a lot. And I'm excited to have our listeners hear more from you and get connected with us. So
thank you. Yeah. Thanks for providing the platform for us too. I'm excited to listen to more of the episodes.
Yes. I love that. That's we're all about what you guys are about. It's that community, you know. We want people to feel like you're not alone. There's a lot of us out there and we're all in this together.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Slide into our DMs anytime. I'm always down to talk gluten-free foods.
Yes, I love it. Well, thank you. Thank you. You have an amazing rest of your day, and we'll keep you posted when this launches so you can share and take a listen.
That's awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you for listening. We really appreciate likes, follows, and reviews wherever you listen to your podcasts.
And you can find us at I've Got Guts Podcast on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. And we're working on TikTok. And you can email us at I'veGotGutsPodcast@gmail.com.
We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.